Welcome to Liberty Listen, your destination for summaries that transform your life one chapter at a time. Today, we're diving into a concept that is deceptively simple but radically powerful, the Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins. This is your guide to reclaiming your energy, ending the cycle of people-pleasing, and finally living for you. Over the next 18 chapters, we'll break down how to apply this theory to your relationships, your career, and your self-worth. Chapter 1. Stop wasting your life on things you can't control. If you've ever felt like you're drowning in stress, constantly falling behind, or stuck in a loop trying to make everyone else happy, this chapter was written for you. Mel Robbins opens with a hard-hitting truth. The problem isn't you, it's the power you are unknowingly handing over to other people. The core conflict. Think about it. Every time you try to manage how someone sees you or how they feel about you, you're chipping away at your own peace. Mel is brutally honest about her own life. She spent years bending herself into a pretzel. She thought if she just worked a little harder, said the right things, or kept the peace, she'd finally feel good enough. But the result was always the same: exhaustion. You know that feeling, don't you? Trying to manage a partner's disappointment, a coworker's approval, or a parent's judgment. You think, if I just do this right, they won't be upset. But here's the reality. Someone is still unhappy. Someone still criticizes. And you're left empty. The solution: the let them pivot. Mel's message is a lightning bolt to the system. You can reclaim your power right now with just 2 words: let them. Let them be disappointed. Let them have their opinions. Let them misunderstand you. Let them walk away. When you stop trying to fix how others feel, you finally start living your own life. Real-world application. Mel uses the ice cube metaphor. Your time with people you love is like a melting ice cube. It's disappearing. You can't stop the melt. You can only choose to be present. She tells a story about her son, Oakley, on his prom night. It was total chaos. No plans, no reservations, just teenage spontaneity. Mel was spiraling, trying to control every detail to make it perfect. Until her daughter, Kendall, said, "Mom, if they want to go to a taco bar in the rain, let them." Mel realized she was making herself miserable, trying to engineer a night that didn't belong to her. The moment she let go, the moment she handed over the taco money and let him run into the rain, everything changed. She got her peace back. The lesson is simple, but it requires courage. You cannot stop the rain, but you can stop standing in it. People hold no power over you unless you give it to them. Their behavior is on them. Your happiness, that's on you. Stop making other people your problem. Let them do what they're going to do, and you choose peace. Chapter 2. The Equation of Empowerment. In Chapter 1, we learned the art of letting go. We learned to stop trying to control the wind and instead let it blow. But Mel Robbins knows that letting go is only half the battle. If you only say, let them, you risk becoming a passenger in your own life. You might avoid conflict, but you won't grow. To truly reclaim your power, you need the second half of the equation: let me. The vulnerable turn. Mel shares a story that many of us have lived. She was on a trip with friends, women she trusted. On the final day, she found out they had been gossiping about her all weekend. They were hurt by something she said, but instead of coming to her, they stewed in silence. The sting was instant. Shame, confusion, the desperate urge to fix it and plead for her place in the circle. But then she paused. She realized she was centering their behavior above her own peace. She pivoted the framework. Let them gossip, let them misunderstand, but then let me decide if these are the kind of friends I want. Let me choose how I respond. The mantra: resonance and pace. This is the birth of the full theory. Let them plus let me. Let them is your mental filter. It creates the space. Let me is your action step. It is where your responsibility begins. Read these words closely. Let them settle in. Let them judge. Let me rise above. Let them ignore. Let me focus. Let them doubt. Let me believe. Practical application. The modern scenarios. Think about your daily life. The workplace. Your boss gives a coworker credit for your idea. Your blood boils. Instead of spiraling into resentment, try this. Let them take the credit for now. Let me use this as fuel to speak up louder next time. Let me advocate for myself in the next meeting. The relationship. Your partner is forgetful or stressed. You want to nag, to criticize, to change them. Try this. Let him have his stress. Let me communicate my needs clearly without the anger. Let me decide what I will tolerate. Let me is not about isolation. It's not about cutting the world off. It's about emotional mastery. It is the commitment to take ownership of your energy. You don't need to control everyone around you to feel in control of your life. You just need to take full responsibility for you. This takes practice. You will still be triggered. You will still want to explain yourself. But with every let me, you build the muscle of self-trust. Let them, let me. That is your new life. Chapter 3. Managing Stress. Let them annoy you. Let's talk about the weight we carry. Not the heavy, life-altering burdens, but the paper cuts. The negative coworker, the neighbor's barking dog, the teenager slamming a door, the person in the express lane with 40 items. Individually, they are small. Collectively, they are exhausting. In Chapter 3, Mel Robbins gives us a shield against this daily friction. Her message is a quiet revolution. You don't need to fix, control, or internalize every irritating thing that happens. Just let them. The insight: resistance versus reality. Most of your stress doesn't come from the event itself. It comes from your resistance to it. It's not the traffic jam. It's your belief that the road should be clear. It's not the person who interrupts you. It's the story you tell yourself about being disrespected. When you argue with reality, you lose. Every single time. The humorous pivot. Relatable moments. Mel tells a story we've all lived. She's in the kitchen, rushed, caffeinated, to-do list running in her head. Her mom starts reading random stressful headlines aloud. Banks, lettuce shortages, weather reports. Mel felt her blood pressure spike. She wanted to snap. "Can't you see I'm busy?" But then she caught herself. Let her. Let her be who she is. This is her way of connecting. Mel paused, smiled, and the tension evaporated. She chose her peace over her point. The science. Soothing the amygdala. There is a reason your heart races when someone cuts you off in traffic. Your brain's alarm system, the amygdala, mistakes a minor rudeness for a physical threat. But you are the captain of this ship. You can tell your brain, let them cut me off. I am still safe. I am still okay. Choosing let them isn't a sign of weakness. It's a sign of wisdom. You aren't being passive. You are being protective. You're picking your battles, and most of these aren't worth the ammo. The let them scenarios, a faster pace. The silent coworker. They never say good morning back. Let them be awkward. It's not about you. The group chat. It's blowing up at 11 p.m. with drama. Let them overshare. Put your phone on Do Not Disturb and protect your sleep. The loud eater. Does it drive you crazy? Let them chew. Sit a little further away and enjoy your own meal. The shield. Mel gives us a phrase to carry like armor. This is not about me. When someone is snappy or inconsiderate, they are usually just tired, overwhelmed, or unaware. You don't have to match their frequency. You can observe their chaos without absorbing it. Mel shares a tender example from her marriage. Her husband, Chris, leaves his coffee mug on the bathroom sink every morning. It used to be a trigger for a fight. Now, it's a reminder. Let him. Let him have this quirk. This is the man she chose, coffee mug and all. What if you made peace your identity instead of stress? You don't have to react to everything you feel. You are allowed to let things slide. You are allowed to breathe. Let them do what they do, and you You stay grounded in what actually matters. Chapter 4. Work stress. Let them hold you back. If you've ever felt like you're giving everything to your job and still being overlooked, underappreciated, or even sabotaged, listen closely. This chapter is for you. Mel Robbins is direct. Workplace stress is rarely about the work itself. It's about our emotional attachment to how we are perceived and how we think the system should work. But you cannot control a toxic boss, a lazy teammate, or a broken culture. What you can control is how you show up. It's time to stop wasting your energy on things you cannot fix. The scenario, the credit stealer. Imagine this. You've stayed late. You've gone above and beyond. The project is a triumph. And then your manager swoops in and takes all the credit in front of the executives. Your instinct is to stew, to vent, or to play the scene back in your head 50 times. Instead, try the let them pivot. Let them take the credit. Let them manage poorly. Let them show you exactly who they are. And then, let me update my resume, let me start networking, let me document my wins for the next interview. Stop giving workplace drama a starring role in your story. You don't have to fix the system to move beyond it. The trap, overfunctioning and people-pleasing. Are you the yes person? Do you rewrite an email 15 times just to avoid sounding too direct? Do you cover for coworkers who aren't pulling their weight, hoping someone will finally notice your sacrifice? Mel's advice is a cold splash of water. Respect does not come from overfunctioning. It comes from boundaries. Let them be disappointed when you say no. Let them think you aren't a team player because you leave on time. Let them roll their eyes. If you try to earn your worth through extra labor, you won't get promoted, you'll just get burned out. The success story. Claire. Mel shares the story of Claire, a marketing pro who was the ultimate yes girl. She held the team together, yet she was passed over for promotion again and again. When Claire finally applied the let them theory, she stopped being a doormat. When a coworker tried to dump a last-minute task on her, she simply said, "I won't be able to take this on right now. Let's discuss a better system next week." Was it uncomfortable? Yes, but within 6 months, Claire had found that reclaimed energy to find a higher-paying job at a company that actually valued her boundaries. The work inventory, a call to action. Mel challenges you to take a let them inventory of your office life. Ask yourself, what am I taking personally that isn't mine? Where am I overfunctioning to please people who don't care? What can I let them do, even if they do it poorly, so I can let me focus on my future? You do not owe your employer your mental health. You do not need permission to move on. If your job no longer aligns with your values, let them keep the status quo and let you go find a better fit. Once you stop letting other people's behavior define your worth at the office, you become unstoppable. Let them stay where they are. Let you rise anyway.
Chapter 5. Let them think bad thoughts about you. Have you ever stayed up late obsessing over a conversation, replaying what you said, rewriting a text 5 times, or wondering if someone is secretly mad at you? If so, this chapter is your liberation. Mel Robbins opens with a cold, hard reality check. People are going to think whatever they want about you, no matter what you do. You can be the kindest, most responsible person on the planet, and someone will still misunderstand you. Someone will still gossip. Once you realize that, you can stop performing. You can stop bending. You can stop exhausting yourself for a version of approval that is never going to arrive. The message is simple, yet terrifying if you've spent your life as a people pleaser. Let them think what they want. Let them judge. Let them misunderstand. Let them be dead wrong about you. Because here is the truth. Their thoughts do not change your reality. Your truth remains true, even if they never see it. Personal breakthrough. Mel admits she used to spiral over what her family thought of her parenting, her career pivots, her podcast. She was constantly shrinking to avoid judgment. Then she decided she was done. She adopted a new mantra. Let them think what they want. I have a life to build. You don't need to justify your goals. You don't need to argue your worth. Let them think you're too loud, too weird, too ambitious, or too much. Their opinion of you is none of your business. Approval addiction. Mel explains that approval addiction is the thief of an exceptional life. It stops you from speaking up in meetings. It stops you from posting that creative idea. It stops you from saying no. But you don't need universal approval. You only need self-respect. The 3-step filter, a practical tool. The next time you catch yourself spiraling over someone's opinion, use this exercise. 1. Ask yourself, do I actually respect the person who is judging me? 2. If yes, is their feedback loving, constructive, or helpful? If no, remind yourself, their opinion does not define your worth. Not all criticism is created equal. Some people judge because they're insecure. Some gossip because they're bored. Let them. The peach metaphor, warm and insightful. Mel offers one of the most powerful lines in the book. You can be the juiciest, ripest peach on the tree, and there will still be someone who just hates peaches. You will never be everyone's cup of tea, but the people who are meant for you, they will love you in full flavor, unfiltered and unafraid. Here is the real secret. People aren't thinking about you nearly as much as you think they are. They're too busy worrying about themselves. That conversation you're replaying, they've already forgotten it. That embarrassing thing you said, they weren't even listening. And if they were, let them. You have a life to live. Don't waste another second trying to manage a mind that isn't yours. Redirect that energy toward your goals. Rise louder. Rise freer. Let them think what they want. You stay focused on who you are. Chapter 6. Let them be upset. We have all been there. You say no to a request, and the guilt hits you instantly. You express your feelings, and the other person gets defensive. You make a choice that is right for you, but someone else doesn't like it. Suddenly, you're the one overthinking, over-apologizing, and regretting your decision, all because someone else is upset. In Chapter 6, Mel Robbins targets this exhausting pattern. She wants you to hear this loud and clear. Your fear of someone else's discomfort is costing you your peace. The core shift, emotional sovereignty. What if you stopped taking responsibility for everyone else's emotional reactions? What if you allowed people to feel what they feel and stopped scrambling to fix it? The invitation of this chapter is simple. Let them be upset. It's going to feel uncomfortable at first, but you are not responsible for how someone else reacts to your truth. When you set a boundary and they get mad, let them. When you cancel plans to rest and they feel disappointed, let them. When you don't text back immediately and they feel ignored, let them. Kindness versus compliance. Mel is vulnerable about her own journey. Early on, she said yes to everything just to avoid being seen as rude or cold. She realized her need to keep everyone else emotionally comfortable was making her mentally bankrupt. She gives us this game-changing distinction. Just because someone's feelings are hurt doesn't mean you did something wrong. Often, people aren't upset because you were unkind. They're upset because you're no longer doing what they want. That is their work to do, not yours. Real-world resilience. The examples. The people-pleasing parent. You decide to skip the big family holiday to have a quiet day at home. The in-laws are furious. Let them be upset. Adults can handle disappointment. They will be okay. The overburdened coworker. You stop picking up the slack for a lazy colleague. They huff and roll their eyes. Let them. You aren't there to be liked. You're there to be respected. And respect begins with you respecting your own limits. The heavy friend. You love them, but you need space from their drama. They send a guilt-tripping text. Let them be. You can love someone and still choose distance. The safe person litmus test. Healthy relationships require the ability to disappoint people without destroying yourself. If someone can't handle your no, they aren't a safe person for your growth. Mel addresses the fear. What if they leave? Her answer is real. If a relationship depends on you never saying no, it isn't a connection, It's control. If they walk away because you finally stood up for yourself, let them. The 5-step process, a practical piece. Mel walks us through how to stay grounded when the storm of someone else's emotion hits. 1. Notice the trigger. Feel the urge to fix their mood? Pause. 2. Name the pattern. Say, I am trying to take responsibility for their reaction. 3. State your truth. You are allowed to say no. 4. Breathe the mantra. Let them be upset. I am still a good person. 5. Don't chase. Give them space to process their feelings without you rescuing them. Emotional freedom. Mel shares the story of Denise, who stopped attending chaotic family dinners. Her family exploded with accusations. Denise didn't argue. She said, I love you, but I need this break. Weeks later, her sister admitted she actually admired the boundary. Discomfort is often the doorway to growth for both of you. Your job is not to be emotionally convenient for others. Your job is to be emotionally honest with yourself. Let them pout. Let them project. Let them grow. And you, let yourself breathe. Let yourself trust. Let yourself be free.
Chapter 9 is about ending that cycle. Mel is clear. Boundaries are not about changing other people. They are about honoring your own needs. You aren't controlling them. You are clarifying what is okay and what is not okay for you. Her formula is simple. This is what I need. This is what I won't tolerate. And this is what I will do if the line is crossed. The over-communicating parent. They call every day, interrupting your focus. You've stayed silent out of guilt. Mel says, let them want that daily connection, and let you set the standard. Say, I love talking to you, but I can't do it every day. Tuesdays and Sundays work best. Let them be disappointed. Let you have your time. The draining friend. Every call is a spiral of complaints. Mel says, let them have their emotions, and let you protect your energy. Say, I've only got 10 minutes today. Let's keep it light. That isn't rude, it's clarity. The passive partner. You've been dropping hints about the housework and nothing changes. Mel says, let them assume you'll always do it until you don't. Say, I am overwhelmed. We need to divide this labor evenly. No fight, just facts. The pushback. Staying grounded. If you weren't raised with boundaries, this will feel unnatural. But remember this, people who benefit from your lack of boundaries will always push back when you set them. Let them. That pushback isn't a sign that you are wrong, it's a sign that the boundary is working. When they push, don't over-explain, don't justify, don't apologize. Just repeat your truth with kindness and stay grounded. The poison of resentment. Mel shares the story of a couple she coached. The wife was drowning in emotional labor because she never voiced her needs. Her husband wasn't lazy, he just assumed she liked the way things were. Boundaries don't end love, they end silent resentment. Resentment is the poison that kills connection. Boundaries are the antidote. What if you lose people by setting boundaries? Mel's answer is gentle. Then they were never really there for you. They were there for what you provided. Let them go. You cannot build a life around keeping others comfortable while you slowly disappear. Carry this mantra with you. Let them have their expectations. Let me have my limits. Your boundaries are not burdens. They are the blueprint for a life that is safe, honest, and truly your own. Chapter 10. Let them walk away. There is nothing more human and nothing more painful than the feeling of being left behind. Whether it's a sudden breakup, a friendship that quietly fades, or a family member who pulls away, abandonment cuts deep. It brings up 100 questions that keep you awake at night. What did I do wrong? Why wasn't I enough? How could they just leave? In Chapter 10, Mel Robbins offers a reframe for that grief. It's only 4 words, but they are the hardest you will ever say. Let them walk away. The hardest truth. Mel admits this was the most difficult chapter to write. We are wired for belonging, so when someone leaves, it feels like a failure of our very identity. But Mel wants you to remember this. People walking away is not the end of your story. Often, it is the beginning of your healing. She tells the story of a close friend who distanced herself as Mel's career began to soar. Mel was crushed. She sent the texts, she replayed the conversations, she begged for an explanation, until finally she stopped. She realized that not all friendships are built for every season. Letting that friend walk was the only way Mel could stop her own stagnation. The blessing of absence. Mel asks a radical question. What if losing them is exactly what frees you to become who you were meant to be? Think of Jenna, who spent 7 years trying to love harder to fix a distant partner. When he finally ended it, she was shattered, until she realized he had given her the blessing she couldn't give herself. He cleared the space for a version of her that was no longer draining itself to keep someone else full. If someone doesn't want to be in your life, you don't really want them there either, because love that is forced isn't love, it's control in a mask. How do you let them walk without destroying yourself? Mel gives us a roadmap. Allow the grief. Don't hide from the pain with toxic positivity. Cry, journal, feel the loss. Stop chasing. No more texts, no more checking their social media, no more explaining yourself to a closed door. Honor the lesson. Every relationship is a mirror. What did this one show you about your own patterns? Redirect your energy. Invest in yourself with the same intensity you used to invest in them. And finally, forgive them. Not because they are right, but because you are ready to be free. You don't have to chase closure. You don't have to become smaller to get them to stay. You can stand in your grace and say, I release you and I reclaim me. The most poignant line of the chapter is this. If someone wants to leave, open the door, hold it with love, and then walk yourself back into your own light. Some people may circle back, people grow, but even then the mindset remains. Let them. Let them reach out. Let them do the work. You don't beg for attention anymore. You aren't the same person who thought they had to audition for love. You have learned the ultimate power move. Let them walk. Let me rise. Chapter 11. Let it hurt. Healing through the pain. Pain. We all carry it. Sometimes it's loud and sharp, like the sting of a fresh betrayal. Sometimes it's quiet and lingering, like the dull ache of a regret you can't quite shake. In Chapter 11, Mel Robbins gives us permission to do something most of us are too afraid to do. Feel it. Let it hurt. Let it rise. Let it move through you. Because here is the cold, hard truth. What you refuse to feel, you will keep reliving. If you avoid your pain, it doesn't disappear. It just changes shape. It becomes anxiety. It becomes resentment. It becomes that stuck feeling you can't explain. The myth of the quick fix. Mel opens with a bold reality check. You cannot move on if you haven't allowed yourself to grieve what you lost. And often, what you lost wasn't just a person, it was a version of yourself. The version that trusted more easily, the version that hoped for a different ending. Mel shares a story from her 20s, a sudden, unexplained breakup that wrecked her. At the time, she did what we all do. She drank, she worked, she distracted herself. She pretended she was fine. But the pain stayed in her body for years, shaping how she loved and how little she trusted. It only began to dissolve when she finally stopped running and let the truth catch up to her. Trauma versus truth. We often attach a story to our pain. They left me, so I must be unlovable. They didn't see me, so I must be invisible. Mel wants you to hear this. That is not the truth. That is trauma. The way through it isn't around, it's through. Let the tears come. Let yourself be human.
Your body keeps the score until you stop ignoring the scoreboard. Your triggers are just data. They are telling you where you are still holding pain that hasn't been witnessed yet. The healing equation, let them, let me. How does the let them theory apply to a broken heart? It's twofold. Let them cause the pain and let me feel it fully. Not to relive the wound, but to finally let it breathe. The unresolved friendship, they drifted away without a word. Let them choose their distance. Let it hurt. You don't need their answers to grieve the ending. The childhood wound. You grew up invisible. Let them have been who they were, people without the tools to see you. Let it hurt. You weren't wrong for needing more. The gutting divorce. Let them not choose you. Let it hurt. Mourn the life you thought you'd have. It was real. It was sacred. Mel warns us, don't use self-help as a mask to bypass your feelings. Motivation is great, but it shouldn't be a bandage for a wound that needs stitches. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is lie on the floor and cry, and when you're done, you stand up, maybe shaky, maybe slower, but undeniably stronger. Healing isn't a straight line, it's a spiral. You will circle back to the pain, but every time you will be wiser, every time you will be braver. Carry this mantra for your heavy days. Let them go. Let it hurt. Let me heal. The next time that sadness surfaces, don't push it away. Put your hand on your heart and say, I'm safe now. I'm healing now. I'm coming home to myself.
Chapter 12. Let them be unfair. Life isn't fair. You've heard it 1,000 times, but it hits differently when it's your trust that was betrayed, when it's your work that was stolen, or your reputation that was dragged through the mud. It burns. In Chapter 12, Mel Robbins brings us face to face with a hard truth. People will treat you unfairly, and you may never get the justice or the closure you deserve. But she offers you something more powerful than revenge: permission to stop wasting your energy trying to fix it. The core insight is, let them be unfair. This doesn't mean you excuse them. It doesn't mean you weren't hurt. It means you are done carrying the weight of their character on your shoulders. Mel reminds us that the longer you fight to make someone see how wrong they were, the more you abandon yourself. You hand over your power when you wait for them to apologize or acknowledge the truth. Healing begins when you stop needing fairness from people who can't even offer you basic respect. The sibling who plays the victim. They spin the story to make you the villain and manipulate the family. Mel says, let them play their role. Let them have their version. You live your truth. You hold your peace. The credit stealer at work. They took your idea and took the praise. Mel says, let them have the applause for now. Speak up professionally, but don't let it become an obsession. Your talent will outlast their theft. The smearing ex. They told half-truths and turned friends against you. Mel says, let them. Let them reveal their own immaturity. You walk away with your dignity intact. You don't have to roll in the mud to reclaim your name. Release versus righteousness. We think fairness brings peace, but it's actually release that brings peace. You cannot force someone to grow. You cannot beg someone to be kind. Mel shares her own past, a time she was dismissed by dominant voices in a collaboration. She fumed. She looked for allies. But eventually she realized she was trying to be fairly treated by people who didn't value her at all. She said, let them minimize me. Let them keep the credit. And in that moment, she got something better than justice. She got her power back. Redirection, a higher perspective. Unfair treatment is often life's way of redirecting you. It is a sign that says, this isn't your tribe. This isn't your room. When you stop fighting to stay where you aren't respected, you make space for the rooms where you are celebrated. Walking away quietly is often louder than any argument you could ever make. Carry this mantra with you. Let them be unfair. Let me stay grounded. Let me keep rising. You will never get fairness from someone who is more committed to being right than being kind, so stop waiting for it. Let them believe the lies. Let them misinterpret your silence. Justice is beautiful, but peace is better. And peace begins with the words, let them. Chapter 13. Let them disappoint you. Disappointment. It stings in a very particular way. It's not just about what happened, it's about what didn't happen. The loyalty you assumed was mutual, the celebration you thought was coming. Disappointment is a quiet grief, a slow-burning ache. In Chapter 13, Mel Robbins gives us a hard, necessary invitation. Let them disappoint you. Because when you allow people to show you who they really are, and you accept that they may never be who you hoped they'd be, you stop getting crushed by every unmet expectation. The hidden poison, resentment. Mel shares a story about her birthday. She didn't want a huge party, just a moment of recognition, a card, a dinner, a sign of being seen. But the day was business as usual. Everyone was busy. She smiled and said it was fine, but inside she felt invisible. We often stay silent about our disappointment because we don't want to look needy. But unspoken disappointment turns into resentment, and resentment is the poison that kills relationships. The solution isn't to demand more from everyone, it's to get honest. People can only meet you where they are, and sometimes that is miles away from where you want to be. The mind-reading trap. Disappointment hurts most when it's tied to unspoken expectations. People cannot read your mind. Mel offers 3 questions to pull you out of the spiral. Did I clearly communicate what I needed? Am I expecting this person to be someone they have never shown me they are? And can I meet this need for myself instead of outsourcing it? Disappointment as data. The examples. The flaky friend. They bail last minute, every time. Mel says, let them disappoint you. This is who they are. Stop relying on them for stability. It's not mean, it's mature. The emotionally unavailable parent. You land a milestone and they give you silence. Mel says, let them. They may not have the tools to express pride. Stop expecting them to become someone they aren't. The inattentive partner. You drop hints and they miss them. Mel says, let them. Disappoint them once, then communicate clearly. If they still don't respond, let that be the message you finally hear. Mel drops a truth that changes everything. Stop expecting loyalty from people who don't even show up for themselves. You are waiting for consistency from someone who is chaotic with their own life. You're expecting deep emotional support from someone who runs from their own feelings. When you stop expecting ocean depths from puddle-deep people, the resentment disappears. You stop being shocked that a puddle can't hold a ship. Disappointment is the death of an illusion. It's okay to mourn that. But once you grieve the version of the person you wished they were, you are free to see who they actually are. Carry this affirmation for the next time you feel let down. I release my need for others to validate me. I accept who they are, and I adjust my expectations accordingly. Real peace doesn't come from finding perfect people. It comes from clear expectations and self-trust. Next time someone falls short, let them. Let it hurt. Let it teach you. And then, stop waiting for more and build your life with the people who show up fully.
Chapter 14. Let them live their life. How many times have you caught yourself thinking, why would they do that? Or why don't they just? Whether it's your sibling, your child, or your best friend, when the people we care about make decisions we don't understand, we feel frustrated, we feel anxious, we feel responsible. In Chapter 14, Mel Robbins invites you to do something radical. Let them live their life. It sounds simple, but for those of us who love deeply, it is the ultimate challenge. The hard truth of love. Mel shares a truth we all need to hear. Just because you love someone doesn't mean you know what's best for them. And just because you see how they could do better doesn't mean it's your job to fix it. Let them stay in the job you would have quit. Let them date the person you don't approve of. Let them make mistakes. because you cannot grow for someone else. Micromanaging another person's life, even from a place of love, doesn't help them. It only creates a force they feel they have to resist. The secret of space. Mel talks about her daughter, Sawyer, who was making a choice Mel disagreed with. Mel's mom instinct was to jump in and steer her, but she stopped. She remembered that she learned most from her own wrong turns. She backed off. She said, "Let her live her life." What happened? Sawyer figured it out in her own time. And because Mel didn't interfere, the relationship stayed open and strong. When you stop trying to control someone else's story, you leave space for actual support. The journeys of others. Examples. The friend in the toxic relationship. You've warned her 1,000 times. Mel says, let her have her journey. You can set boundaries on how much you listen to, but don't shame her. Say, I love you, and I trust you'll find your way. The adult child. They want to take a risk instead of being stable. Mel says, let them. Their life is not a continuation of yours. Be proud they are bold enough to choose their own path, even if it's not the one you'd pick. The self-sabotaging coworker. You've offered help, but they keep falling into old patterns. Mel says, let them. Sometimes people have to fall before they are ready to rise. Emotional maturity. Detachment with love. One of the biggest traps we fall into is thinking, if they loved me, they'd take my advice. That's not true. People can love you and still make choices that confuse you. You don't have to understand someone's choices to respect their right to make them. No one changes when they feel judged, but people transform when they feel accepted. Next time you're tempted to fix someone, ask yourself, is this about them or my own discomfort with their struggle? Mel tells a story of a friend who made a reckless financial move. Mel wanted to warn him, but she stayed silent. Later, he thanked her, not for advice, but for not making him feel stupid. Sometimes silence is the most loving support you can give. Carry this affirmation with you. Let them live their life. Let me live mine. Let me love them without needing to change them. Breathe. Step back. Let them live their messy, beautiful, imperfect life. Freedom in a relationship doesn't just mean you are free, it means you give others the freedom to be themselves, even when you don't understand it. Chapter 15. Let them feel their feelings. Let's talk about emotions. Theirs, yours, all of them. In Chapter 15, Mel Robbins gives us a powerful reminder. Your emotions are valid, but they are not facts, and neither are anyone else's. People are going to feel what they feel. You cannot control it, and if you try, you will end up miserable. The core message is freeing. Let them feel their feelings. Most of us were raised to do the opposite. We were trained to be emotional managers. If someone was upset, you were quiet. If they were disappointed, you tried harder. You grew up believing that other people's emotions were your responsibility. Mel is here to tell you they aren't. The shift. Feelings are not emergencies. Mel tells a story of a family vacation where her son Oakley was in a terrible mood, cranky, snapping, and bringing the vibe down. The old Mel would have taken it personally and tried to cheer him up, likely ruining her own day in the process. Instead, she paused and said, let him feel his feelings. He's allowed to be cranky. It's not a problem unless I make it one. That is the shift. Just because someone else is mad doesn't mean you are wrong. Just because they are sad doesn't mean you have to fix it. Why? Because feelings are information, not emergencies. Grounding in the storm, real-life scenarios. When you stop reacting to every emotional wave, you stop being thrown off course. You become the lighthouse, not the boat. The stressed partner. They come home and snap at you. New response, let them. They had a hard day. You don't have to fix it. Say, I'm here if you want to talk, and go back to your peace. The angry critic. If someone is mad at you, doesn't automatically mean you did something wrong. Let them own their emotion. Your job is to stay grounded in your truth, not to bend just because they're activated. Internal work. Name it to tame it. Mel encourages you to give this same space to yourself. Don't suppress your own negative feelings. That only makes them stronger. She suggests the practice of name it to tame it. When you feel overwhelmed, say it out loud. I feel anxious. I feel hurt. I feel insecure. This activates the rational part of your brain and gives you distance. You're not in the emotion anymore. You're observing it. Your emotions are like the weather. They roll in and they roll out. Your job isn't to control the storm. It's to not build your house in it. When someone's energy becomes too intense or manipulative, Mel gives us a script of pure emotional intelligence. It seems like you're upset. I care about you and I'm here, but I'm not going to take that energy on. When you're ready to talk calmly, I'd love to connect. That isn't cold. That's a boundary. You're holding your own peace, not their baggage. Wisdom over indifference. Letting people feel their feelings doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you're wise enough to let them process their own life. It means you love yourself enough to not let their waves drown your boat. The next time the energy feels heavy, pause, breathe, and say, let them feel. Let me stay grounded. Let us both grow. You aren't responsible for anyone else's emotional life, only your own.
Chapter 16. Let them be someone else's problem. Let's get straight to it. Some people are not your problem to solve. In Chapter 16, Mel Robbins gives you the green light to stop carrying people you were never meant to shoulder in the first place. You know the ones, those who chronically drain you, disrespect your time, and cross your boundaries, yet always expect you to be there. Whether it's the coworker who dumps their work on your desk, the friend who only calls when they need a favor, or the family member whose chaos is always your emergency, Mel's message is crystal clear. Let them be someone else's problem. The liberation of no. This isn't about being cruel. It's about recognizing that your energy is a limited resource. Mel shares a truth that might sting. If someone keeps draining you, it is partly because of your refusal to let go. Most of us believe that if we stop fixing or listening, we are bad people. But you are not a rehab center. You are not an unpaid life coach for people who refuse to help themselves. You are finally acknowledging your limits. Mel tells the story of Diane, who spent years rescuing her brother from addiction, legal trouble, and money problems. She was burned out and angry, yet nothing changed. When Diane used the let them approach, she told him, I love you, but I can't keep showing up like this. This is your life, your responsibility. She let him be someone else's problem. Diane got her peace back. Eventually, their relationship improved because it was no longer fueled by enabling and guilt. Let them take responsibility. Let them get uncomfortable enough to finally grow. The powerful question, who is your energy for if you stopped carrying people who aren't your responsibility? She encourages you to make a let them list. Let them find their own ride. Let them miss the deadline. Let them sit in the mess they created. Let them be upset that I am no longer fixing it. Your peace is sacred. Being strong doesn't mean overextending. It means knowing when to stop. Mel drops a liberating line. You are allowed to stop showing up for people who never show up for themselves. You are not a bad friend, daughter, or employee. You are a human being with boundaries. If guilt creeps in, use this reframe. I am not abandoning them. I am honoring me. Letting go doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop carrying. Your life is not a dumpster for other people's drama. Your time is not a donation. Your peace is not a free-for-all. Prioritize your well-being. Allow others to carry their own burdens. By choosing peace over turmoil, you cultivate a sanctuary for your spirit. Focus on what nourishes you. Embrace the serenity that comes from this choice. Chapter 17. Let them judge you. If there is one thing that can paralyze even the strongest among us, it is this: the fear of being judged. You hesitate before posting. You overthink every word in a text. You worry what your coworkers, your family, or strangers online will think. Slowly, without even realizing it, you start living for their approval instead of your own truth. In Chapter 17, Mel Robbins gives you permission to do something radical. Let them judge you. Because here is the reality you can no longer ignore.
Judgment is inevitable. Whether you play it safe or take the leap, someone will have an opinion. You might as well be judged for being real. The source of the sting. Mel shares her early days of public speaking. The internet was ruthless, criticizing her voice, her clothes, her story. It hurt until she realized that people judge from their own limitations and their own unresolved stuff. You cannot control their lens. You can only control this. Will you let someone else's judgment decide who you become? The 4 categories of judgment. Number 1, the strangers, the anonymous internet critics. Mel says, let them. If your joy triggers their insecurity, that is their battle, not yours. You aren't for everyone, and you aren't supposed to be. Number 2, the family. They may not get your dreams. They might mock your choices. Mel says, let them. You weren't put on this earth to play small just to keep your relatives calm. Number 3, the old self. This is the version of you that is afraid of change. Mel says, let her be unsure. Growth can feel like a betrayal to the person you used to be. The price of evolution is the judgment of those, including your past self, who don't understand the transformation. Number 4, the peers. Those who are only comfortable with you when you are palatable. Mel says, let them withdraw. You don't need to explain your purpose to anyone who doesn't care about your growth. The ultimate reframe, bravery over wrongness. Mel offers a tool that neutralizes the sting of a side-eye. What if their judgment doesn't mean I'm wrong? What if it means I'm brave? Most people will never say what they mean or pursue what they want. When you do, they project their fear onto you. Let them. Switch the voice in your head. Stop asking, what will they think? And start asking, do I like who I'm becoming? If nobody supports you, support yourself louder. That is the definition of self-trust. Your life is not a court case, and you are not required to present evidence to justify who you are becoming. Carry this mantra into the world. Let them judge. Let me be free. Mel ends with a challenge. Start living like judgment doesn't matter. Start choosing based on what you know, not what they might say. The next time you feel that sting, the comment, the whisper, the look, pause, smile, and say, let them judge me. Let me rise anyway. Chapter 18. Let me live my life. After all the lessons, all the release, and all the let thems, we arrive at the final and most important shift of all. Let me live my life. You have learned how to let them talk, let them walk away, let them stay stuck, let them judge. Now the spotlight turns fully inward. It is your time, your turn, your chapter. Mel opens this finale with a truth that acts as a compass. You don't owe anyone your peace. You don't owe anyone your silence. You owe yourself the chance to fully live. Mel admits that for years she lived for everyone else, for the roles of mother, wife, and perfectionist. She was exhausted. But when she started saying, let me, the world shifted. Let me write. Let me speak. Let me stop pretending. Let me show up scared but real. Creation began where survival ended. She tells of a moment in her kitchen, realizing she was planning her entire existence around others' carpools and favors. She asked the question that changed everything. When do I get to live my life? This isn't selfish. This is alignment. When you stop contorting yourself, you finally become available to the people who actually love you for you. The embodying of let me. 5 pillars. Number 1, let me take up space. Stop apologizing for your voice. Shrinking doesn't make you safe. It just makes you resentful. Number 2, let me rest without guilt. You don't have to earn a break. You are worthy of stillness. Let them call you lazy. Let you be restored. Number 3, let me make choices others don't understand. You are the only one who has to live with the consequences of your life. Honor your truth over their comfort. Number 4, let me stop waiting. There is no perfect time, only right now. You don't need a sign, you need a decision. Number 5, let me forgive myself. Release the version of you who stayed too long or played too small. Self-forgiveness is the only key to self-trust. Mel offers a final practice. Visualize the version of you who is fully living now, not one day, but today. How do you walk? Who are you no longer explaining yourself to? What have you stopped doing? Write that version of yourself into existence. Claim it. Then start making every decision from that place of power. You've spent enough time being who others needed. It is time to be who you need. You don't need to control them. You don't need to change them. You don't even need to explain yourself anymore. Let them, let you, let life begin again.